Welcome to the CyberSG Voices Vodcast. Now, building a trustworthy AI system is a two-sided challenge. On one side, the data you train it on must be safe, representative, and privacy-preserving. On the other hand, once deployed, the model itself must be hardened against adversarial attacks, jailbreaks, and manipulation. Organizations that solve only one side of the equation end up with a model that is either useless or unsafe. Now, today's guests have each tackled one half of that problem, and together, they cover the full pipeline. So let's start with having the guests do some self-introduction. Uza, maybe you want to start first?
Thanks, CW. I'm 𝗁𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗶, co-founder and CEO of BetterData. BetterData is a locally headquartered startup in Singapore, and we mainly work with large enterprises who are suffering from data privacy challenges. So we have built a platform where we take real customer data. We use AI to transform the real customer data into its artificial form without any loss in quality. But at the same time, we protect the privacy in full of its entirety. So I have been doing that for the last 5 years with my team. And before that, I was at NUS doing my PhD, focused on data security and privacy.
All right, thank you. How about Liu Yong, yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm Liu Yong from A*STAR, Institute of High Performance Computing. I'm the Deputy Director of the department working on computing and intelligence with focus on AI safety. As we understand, ChatGPT, large language model are more and more powerful, but on the other side, it's also not safe if we do not put enough sufficient guardrail on this kind of AI system.
You shared with me that actually many years back, people really saw that synthetic data was the future. But this view, I think, could be amongst a small group of the people. I'd like to understand, even though people understood that it was a trend, I'm sure there were a lot of resistance that this could be the future. How do you deal with those challenges at the very beginning? What made you so convinced that synthetic data was the way to go?
And when I started BetterData in 2021, I was looking at data anonymization, encryption, and synthetic data. But when it came to anonymization and encryption, I was able to hack them. So the point was, in my opinion, these two are non-AI driven. And given the future will be in AI, so something has to be AI driven itself. So that's where synthetic data comes. I was looking at it from a lens of privacy. But again, in 2021, companies who had a lot of private data were the only ones suffering from privacy challenges. But over time, we have seen, given the rapid advancement in AI, we are now suffering from data quantity, data availability, as well as IP risks. So that's where the viable solution has been synthetic data as well, moving away from the expectation of, let's say, only privacy protection. So over the years, this is how we have seen market evolving from using synthetic data for privacy protection, but now also for training models where data quantity or IP considerations are a problem.
Okay, I'll just continue first with you, Uza, okay? Because you talk about synthetic data being used for privacy preservation. How does that actually work?
So when we talk about privacy itself, to explain it in one simple sentence, it just means adding noise. And the reason you do that is to protect someone's identity. Now, when we look at different techniques itself, anonymization, encryption, it deals with a lot of loss in quality. So anonymization is you destroy as much information in the data itself to protect more privacy. And encryption is full protection and zero data utility. So when it comes to synthetic data, AI took the spotlight where they could understand the real customer data, their behavior, their preferences, recommendations, personalizations, anything and everything, and were successful in replicating that. So the model itself is like an artist. It looks at the real data and just understands what the structure is. And from there, it starts to simulate things that are unseen or previously not available in the real data. That's one of the main, I would say, triggers that is driving synthetic data even today as well.
I want to share one example of using synthetic data. In one of my current projects, working on lung cancer, basically we want to study why some lung cancer patients will have the cancer come back, but others will not have those cases. So we need to find out what kind of biomarkers is the root cause of this kind of cancer relapse. So in order to find this biomarker, usually we need a very large cohort of patients. But sometimes one country only have one limited number of patients. So the usual way is to collaborate with PI hospitals from other countries. But there's one issue. We cannot easily send the original patient data across the country because it violates the patient privacy. So in order to address this challenge, one approach is to generate synthetic patient data from the raw data. After that, we can share this synthetic data with our collaborators, such that we have a larger cohort to identify the important biomarkers while also preserving the patient privacy.
Okay, just now Uzair you shared, right? Actually, also for the audience, it is about using real data to generate a volume of synthetic data. So with what Liu Yong has shared, right? Actually, can you explain to us with a small sample of real data generating the big amount of synthetic data, how do you ascertain and still be able to ensure that the doctor can confidently treat it like a real data?
So when we talk about synthetic data, you can classify them into two categories. So the first one is where you are generating data using, let's say, ChatGPT or an AI model, but you do not have a real input reference, any statistics or any real value. So this is a class that we don't deal with at BetterData. Our focus is on the second category, where we have source data. Say we have real customer transactions happening within a bank or patient records in healthcare institutions. So we work on those to train our models, and after training we generate synthetic data. In the second category, when we have the real data as reference, it gives us those statistics, the references or the ground truth. So when it comes to synthetic data evaluation, we want to be as close to those as possible. And the customer then can define it to any length, but we always stick to the ground truth, and the goal is to replicate that as closely as possible, but not exactly the same.
Okay. Hey, can I just ask you a question? Because you brought a very interesting point. The question is this, how do you define ground truth?
So defining ground truth, actually it's quite simple. The focus for us again is on use cases where we have access or where we have real data present. So as long as you have real data, it already has some statistics. So even if the end user knows or does not know, you can extract those statistics quite simply because of the availability of the real data itself. Even if it's just one record, say a patient in a certain hospital, age is maybe 32, lives in a certain zip code. So those are the statistics that I'm talking about. And likewise, if you have millions or billions of transactions or records, then the statistics are evolved accordingly.
I see. Okay. So if the data is really structured in the way with a certain set of features, then we will ensure that statistically between the real data and the synthetic data, this descriptive statistics, I think, actually falls within bounds of accepted errors. So from a cancer marker point of view, right? What would be some of these features that Uzair has spoken about? Because actually we talk about the potential just now.
Yes.
So if this set of features has this set of data has those features, and in this case for the biomarkers, what would be some of these features?
For example, from those gene profiles, certain gene mutations. So for example, from some blood test results, all these are the biomarkers. Just now you asked a very good question. How do we verify the synthetic data is good enough? So in order to do that, we need to compare with the actual data. So typically, we will reserve a test data set and to see what's the performance of the model using the synthetic data can achieve. If can achieve similar kind of performance, they will have certain confidence that is good enough.
Now, we know that, for instance, like for example, capturing the biomarkers to detect data, there's always a better way to determine ground truth. Let's put it this way. You know, you maybe have 10 features. Actually, you don't know that actually a 20 feature set could actually better represent ground truth. My question to the both of you is this, right? With synthetic data, with whatever you're doing, how do we go to the next level?
So we want to have the power of larger cohort, such that it enable researchers' clinicians to identify more powerful, more predictive biomarkers. Right. So one way to verify is we put all the synthetic data together, and then we try to identify the biomarkers. Then we compare with the original data. So if that can match, that means the synthetic data have enough information allow researchers to identify those important biomarkers.
We've spoke a lot about the synthetic data and how useful it is to generate good models. Maybe now it's time to talk about the AI Guardian and how you have those guardrails and so forth to prevent adversarial attacks and all this. Maybe Liu Yong, can you just bring us through?
So for this AI Guardian project, basically we are trying to develop guardrails for large language models. I can give one example. For example, if you ask ChatGPT how to build a bomb, ChatGPT will refuse to answer because it's not safe for humankind, right? But researchers managed to find different ways to get around this kind of safety mechanism. For example, the researchers can do something called role playing. So basically, tell a story. I'm a researcher looking into these explosive devices. In order to study how it works, I need the process in step by step. So the same principle applies to other areas such as healthcare. For example, how to develop a poison using household items. So this actually poses a very obvious danger to the society, right? So in this project, actually we are looking in two perspectives. One is the red teaming. In terms of red teaming, we need to look at what are the potential ways to hack into ChatGPT. The other aspect is the safeguarding. So to address those challenges, what are the effective approach to safeguard the large language models?
For the case of role playing, for instance, ultimately it's about deceiving the LLMs, right? Actually, LLMs are not even conscious in the first place.
Correct.
So having the guardrails actually has its challenges also.
So in order to detect such role playing, so we look at the inputs and also the outputs. So from the inputs, we develop another LLM to detect the intention of this user query. Now, if we feel this query is malicious, then we can stop this query, stop the LLM from responding. The second part is the output part. If the output part we deem is harmful, then we can also stop the outputs from the LLM.
So like what Uzair and Liu Yong have said, a lot depends on the context. I mean, for the case of the bomb making part, if today I'm in an arms manufacturing factory, for instance, and I'm a researcher, definitely that part of I should have access to it. So at the end of the day, I guess it's also the identities of the people that are querying the LLMs, right? So if it's contextual, you can provide identity type, and say for example, I'm a firearms researcher, for instance, he should have full access. But we know that anything out of this context, you shouldn't grant the access. Okay. So when you protect it, I think you can use context-based approaches to prevent that from happening. But are there other approaches? I mean, based on what you have researched.
Basically, we need to look into the model architecture, right, to understand what's the scenario of this user query, and then from there, actually, we detect the intent. Basically, we need to know what's the intent behind this query. Yes.
But my follow-on question is this: How do you definitively detect intent?
It's like a cat and the mouse game. You always bad actors coming up with some new approaches. There are always new ways of attacking. So researchers always have to come up with the new way of defending.
Okay, so the follow-on question is this, okay, given the current state of the art, obviously we know that there's no one easy answer to answer all the questions we just raised, right? So from a regulatory compliance perspective, I know a lot of countries also trying to take measures to address this. Now from your point of view, right, both of you, where are the gaps you think in regulation, compliance, and how with the technology they're developing, is allowing users to use LLM models more confidently? All right, that's my question. Maybe Uzair, you can start first. Yeah.
So when we talk about LLMs, broadly speaking, most of them, if not all of them, have been trained on the information or data available in the world, or in other words, the internet. Now, using it for certain use cases may or may not be subjective to compliance. So when we talk about LLMs, to keep it very simple, you can think of it as a model that has been trained on the world knowledge. So in other words, it is the internet. Now, if I'm using that LLM for my personal use, compliance is not a big challenge because I'm the decision maker and I'm the end user as well. But when we talk about using LLMs for enterprises, for a company, especially financial, healthcare, government, then we have to deal with compliance. Now, when we talk about all these three sectors, privacy protection is one of the key mandates, IP protection is another mandate, and keeping to innovate is something that everybody loves to do and at least pretends to do. So that's where it becomes equally important that what are you going to use this LLM for and in what context. So if I take an example of a bank, when they're using this LLM to drive certain outcomes and they want to use the real customer data, then privacy is a big problem. And likewise, when we talk about regulations, by extension, any company that has data is confidential by nature, and using it in a free manner is just not simply allowed. So it really depends that which industry we are in, what are the use cases we are driving for, if it is AI or non-AI driven. If it is AI driven, like the end application, then we have many more things in consideration as well. Now I can say with full surety that as long as AI is not involved, it is quite a simple approach, not a lot of problem there. But if AI is involved, then how do you explain a model which is a black box? So if you have a model predicting that a certain user coming to a bank should be given a loan, yes or not, if it's a yes, why? If it's a no, why? So a lot of domain knowledge comes into picture which can be used to effectively understand the outcomes and therefore explain them a bit, because you can't really rely on AI and explainability. So when it comes to regulations, we have a lot of things, but from a BetterData perspective, our focus is on privacy itself. So data protection, data quality issues, as well as IP risks that are increasingly amplified because of LLMs. That's where we have this platform that we build where people can use it to address all these issues.
You want to explain a bit more how BetterData does it?
So say if we have a healthcare institution, they have a problem of privacy or IP as well. That's the first problem. The second problem is they cannot really take this data and give it to someone else. So that's the second problem. They need something in-house and they need to comply with the privacy laws as well. So at BetterData, when we train these models on the real data that this healthcare institution has, they can keep on generating as much data as they want without sharing anything with us. So that's how it typically works. And on the quality itself, they work with us to understand if it's good or if it needs further improvement.
I can share one use case in terms of the regulatory for the AI chatbots. So in AI Guardian, actually we are working on one use case is to develop a guardrail for a chatbot, a medical chatbot, talking to patients. So this is very useful, but in other side, the safety is also a concern because this chatbot is driven by a large language model. It's a generative AI. The AI output is not deterministic. Sometimes you will say things he's not supposed to say, right? So in this case, the AI may hallucinate. AI may give wrong medical advice. It's very critical to put a safeguard in place.
So that we can meet the standards of the regulation. But in this specific case, what is the regulation?
That's a very good question. At this moment, Singapore government, HRC, have AI governance framework. But that AI governance framework is not for Gen AI. It's for predictive AI, prescriptive AI. So that kind of AI, the output is deterministic. But in the area of Gen AI, at this moment, there's no such framework available.
Yes.
Actually, my team is actively engaging with government agency on developing how to develop such kind of a Gen AI framework to regulate this kind of chatbot. There are two aspects in terms of challenges. The first one is the technical challenges. As I mentioned just now, there are always a new way of attack.
Yes.
Secondly, there are always hallucination in the large language model.
Yes.
Right? So from technical perspective, we need to design certain testing framework. That's the technical challenges. The second one is more policy aspect.
Yes.
So we need certain framework, we need certain compliance framework such that before deployment of this kind of Gen AI system in hospital, in different places, all the players have to be follow this kind of guidelines.
Now, obviously, the other question is this, okay, one thing is about the government setting up policies, etc. at that level. Now, when you have industry coming in, we also know there's another challenge. Because someone wants to set the standards, the question is whether the rest will follow. Yes. I mean, how do you all, sure, synthetic data faces the same issue as well. How do the communities come together and say, yeah, okay, I'm going to adopt the standards?
To keep it simple, I'll focus on the privacy and by extension data protection part of it. The issue that I have seen for the last 5 years is if you have no data as a company or as an individual, you don't have any privacy problem because there is no real data. Any company generating a lot of data suffers from privacy risks through and through. So that's one part. They have a problem, they want to solve it. But the problem there is they don't have the expertise. So that's where you have a lot of these privacy startups up and coming, which offer the expertise plus the specialty on such solutions. But enterprises, given their sizes, and startups, given their sizes, connecting them becomes a bottleneck. So regulators have been trying to glue this together, and IMD has been very helpful in this approach. So they have this thing where they have pushed it publicly called the Privacy Enhancing Technology Sandbox. The regulators of privacy here, which is the Personal Data Protection Commission, PDPC, they say that you guys do a project, we will audit the whole thing, and we will tell you if you are compliant or not. And the end user, for them, this is the biggest guarantee that they seek in terms of using our solution.
Okay, so on that, thanks for sharing that. But the question is this, right? In the sandbox, I'm sure the startups as well as the enterprise will benefit. At the same time, do you see feedback going back to the government compliance regulatory aspect so that they can also improve their frameworks?
Yes, so the goal of what my observation is, this whole sandbox is to document a lot of literature on problem statements, solutions. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And this has been going on for the last few years. And the goal is, based on this literature, the policies could be driven.
Of course, in the case of safety aspect of safety regulation of the chatbot in this case, actually a similar approach could also be taken, right? And yes, I'm sure you probably are on one.
For example, IMDA have something called AI Verify. So basically, they have a bunch of suppliers to provide this kind of AI safety testing tools. And they offer some grants to companies who want to test their AI solutions using the tools available from this AI Verify framework. Our AI Guardian system is able to scan the AI system from different aspects. Whether the outputs have certain, will create certain harm for users mental conditions. After we do this red teaming, AI Guardian will give comprehensive reports showing that how many loopholes are in such system and what are the mitigations the company need to take to reduce the risk of the harm.
So do you see one day that actually IHPC in particular can be a certification body for LLMs? Do you think there's potential?
Technically, it's possible, but A-Star still positioning as an R&D organization. So we're happy to collaborate with third-party commercial vendors, so we can license our toolbox to the vendors, and then the vendors can start this kind of certification.
Okay, thank you. Uzair, from your point of view, in the sandboxing, are there specific steps within the process that allows you to, 𝗁𝗵𝗹𝗶𝗵𝗃?
I think from our evaluation side, to keep it simple, we are looking at data quality and data privacy. So data quality is relatively simple because as long as you have data, you have some statistics. So it's a very deterministic function that if you're close to them, it's good, like the quality is good. But when it comes to privacy, what you want to guarantee is real data you can use to identify real people. And synthetic data is impossible to be used and trace it back to real individuals. So we have like audits we do on the models and the data itself to give you those guarantees that it is near impossible that anyone can use synthetic data and trace it back to real individuals.
And one question about the safety, the privacy guarantee, because there are always new way of exploiting the privacy information. Right, from the data, right? How do you guarantee that the synthetic data is really synthetic, it doesn't reveal any original data information?
Yes. So for 4 years, we actually spent a lot of time, and if something works today, tomorrow it can change.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to change our approach from being very reactive to standardizing the whole approach. So we looked at encryption. Encryption works spectacularly because it is backed by maths.
Yes.
So when we look at privacy, we don't have any such framework except one, which is called differential privacy.
Yes.
So differential privacy is just a technique that gives you mathematical tools to guarantee privacy. So effectively what we did was we built this audit framework where we use different privacy attacks and we standardize them into differential privacy guarantees. On AI safety, we can say, I have 1,000 questions, let the model not answer these questions. But there have been attacks where if you put a snake emoji, the model will leak the answer. So it can be as
still a lot of things that we
subjective
do
as
not know, right? So, but exactly that's where BetterData, IHPC, AI Guardian can play such a big role in trying to influence the outcome eventually. So actually, just now we had this talk about this particular issue, but we didn't really say what it is. Actually, it's regarding model bias. Now, I'd like to ask the two experts here, how do you deal with this biasness from both the BetterData perspective as well as AI Guardian perspective? Maybe you start with Uzair first.
So when we talk about biasness, the problem gets complicated when we have, again, AI involved and what the real data, or what the story is behind the real data. So in simple terms, if we imagine we have HR data and within that real data corpus, we have maybe 90% team members who are females and we have 10% team members who are males. Now, when you are training a model on this data, it will select females 9 out of 10 times. Now, is this bias? If you look at real data, no, it's not, because that's the reality. But from a model development perspective, this is a bias because you don't want the model to pick 9 females out of 10 times. You want it to pick them in a fair manner. Now, how do you define fairness here? Is where you can train it with data that has maybe 50% males and 50% females. Now, is that really fair? Because if it's my company, the contribution is coming from a certain group. Why should I prioritize another group for the sake of a fair model? So I see like people love to talk about it, but in reality on the ground, there is not much being done.
Actually, from the AI safety perspective, bias could have a big impact. For example, when the AI do not have enough data, let's say for some rare disease, right? In this case, the AI or the large language model shouldn't answer questions related to those questions, right? In this case, AI should be more transparent. AI should say, oh, I'm not trained for this. But the current training of large language model, it doesn't work in this way. The current large language model are encouraged to guess because they want to have a better ranking in the leaderboard. So the company can get more investment, they can sell more number of accounts. So why the LLM is guessing is because is when you guess. For example, when you go to exam, right? You guess, you still have 1/4 chance to get it right. If you leave it blank, you got 0 marks. So this is exactly how we train large language model. So that's why the LLM is hallucinating. Right? So my team actually working on something, try to encourage LLM to be transparent to us, which means when LLM is not sure, LLM should say, sorry, I'm not trained for this. I do not know the answer. Actually, we are also looking at the evaluation framework for the large language model in healthcare setting. Right? For example, actually, nowadays, a lot of people go to ChatGPT asking for medical advice because it's so convenient. Last time people go for Google, but now people go for ChatGPT. So convenient, it's free, right? So, but it's a user behavior. So Google, actually ChatGPT have this ChatGPT Health, so to address this issue, right? How to make sure the outputs from ChatGPT is relevant, it doesn't cause harm to the end user.
Today, if let's say we consult LLM, even the traditional classifier model, that today I find out that I have a disease based on the model, I would of course go for further checks and then ascertain whether it's true with a human practitioner. But if the model tells me that, you don't have a problem, but later on found out, maybe after a period of time, realize that the symptoms are already there. So this becomes a case where if I've been told by the model that I have this issue earlier, I could have been better, I could have been better treated, right? So this brings the next question, right? Today, with whatever is developing, this question of who is accountable. Is it the synthetic data now? The people that provided real data? The people that have the process to certify the model?
We can look at it from two different perspectives. One is public and one is private. So similar to ChatGPT and these LLM bots, they will say the bot or the model is not certified to give medical advice. But as a user, again, given the convenience, I don't care. So I would say publicly, the onus falls on the user. It's not about the tool, but how you use the tool. But when we talk in a private setting, you may have multiple stakeholders. And the data is just one part of it. We have many more considerations that kind of makes things quite non-linear. So I think answering this question wouldn't be as simple as, we are accountable or the company is accountable. But still, I would say from a private enterprise perspective, the way these enterprises run themselves, the accountability falls on them because they are the first one to capture the customer data. So in the event if anything goes wrong, they will be the first to answer. Now, how it cascades from one enterprise to everybody else, I think this is where public policy comes in. And it's up to the governments that who and how they want to hold people accountable. But anyone who's touching data in any form should share that liability.
In fact, I'm actually working with many doctors on AI solutions in healthcare settings. At this moment, AI is still serving as an assistant. So AI can give suggestions, but we still need a doctor to sign off. In that case, the liability is still in the healthcare side, for example, hospital side. For those online symptom checkers, most of those websites have a disclaimer. Right? If the patient is in urgent conditions, the patient shouldn't use the chatbot. The patient should just call ambulance. Right? And then that's why we need certain compliance, we need certain regulatory framework. AI shouldn't give prescriptions, AI shouldn't give diagnosis without human in the loop.
So I think my takeaway from the sharing is that actually there's no one single solution, there's no one single answer. Perhaps is to look at it from a systems perspective, right? Enterprise doing their best to make sure that the model is all okay. You have the compliance process, the regulatory aspect, humans. To make the final call is still very important. With the prevalence of the use of LLMs, it seems like today users have unconsciously entered a realm in which they entirely trust and embrace the LLMs, ChatGPT for instance. Now actually this issue is about trust, right? So the two experts here, what is your take on trust in the current time, and also how do you see the issue and concept of trust developing going into the future? Maybe Liu Yong, you can start first.
Actually, LLM chatbots is engineered to keep the user engaged. So when you talk more with the LLM, you will figure out LLM is very good at communicating. Right? Basically, it is fine-tuned to be more agreeable to the user and also validate the user's worldview. Right? So users will find it's very comfortable and talking to LLM because companies behind the LLM are motivated to keep a longer period of conversation with the end users. I think end user may need to have a pinch of salt when talking to LLM or when considering the advice from the LLM. So most of the LLM in this moment provide a source of the evidence. For example, citations to certain articles, certain materials. Right? So user may need to look into those sources and then to make some decisions based on different evidence instead of just taking whatever outputs from the LLM.
So it's important for the humans to be critical from that perspective. Uzair, how about you?
So I think when it comes to trust, it's quite a tricky question to answer. We all can acknowledge what LLMs have done is give us a way to interface with machines using our language. So I think it is quite fantastic. But I think the other problem that or side effect it has kind of given us is the convenience of being able to talk about anything and everything. And I think as humans, if we have that convenience more and more, then we become, in my opinion, more and more lazy. I think as users, when we use anything quite frequently, we become more and more careless. I think this is just by design how it is. But when it comes to LLMs, we have to, I think, be mindful that anything we use them for, what that margin of error is. So what I mean by that is if I ask ChatGPT that I want to eat Pakistani food in Singapore, show me a restaurant, maybe it takes me to an Indian restaurant. It's okay, I mean, it's just one-time meal. I don't honestly care. I'll just go ahead. But if it is a distinction between my healthy lifestyle and non-healthy lifestyle, what I should do, what I should not do, and it could impact me adversely, then that's the margin of error is quite big. The mindfulness of validating the facts or the advice equally increases. So I think the onus falls on the companies as well as the users who are using it. But again, as users, I believe we get too comfortable over time. So someone besides users and companies have to kind of regulate this as well. Like we see in different countries, Denmark, Australia, they are banning screen time, they are banning mobile phones for teenagers or underage kids. Why? Because it is affecting their cognitive abilities. Companies don't care as long as the money is being made,
So I think those are excellent points. Now, the issue with LLM actually changes everything because it's no longer about just one single search. It seems like it eats into every aspect of your life. And to try to validate every single aspect of what it produces is exactly your point. That you just get comfortable with it, you just listen to it. So also thank you for raising up the point because it's beyond, I feel, that it's not just about the interaction between the user and the LLM. It's also the company that needs to be involved. So safety, for instance, the determination of what safety is, has to be constantly pushed as a research area so that, or area to work on by the companies to ensure the users that this are being taken care of, and there are always better ways to do it. So in the end, should the users still allow into the comfort zone, there is a trust that the companies themselves are looking after all the aspects of it.
Yeah, I guess in order to build this trust, the whole ecosystem need to work together. Right? So for example, from government agency, need to look into different kind of a framework for compliance. From research organization, from A-Star, so we look into different technical approaches to do the safety check. And then from different chatbot or LLM providers, they may also implement certain safety mechanism in place to ensure there's no harm to humankind. Yeah.
Trust for me, I believe, has a lot to do with visibility. One practical way I see is to keep more things open source. Why? Because things are transparent. Likewise, when we talk about privacy, that's the very problem we are solving. Companies have the data, but they don't have the visibility to it. So how BetterData bridges this gap with our synthetic data platform is the core thing we have been solving for. So I think as long as we talk about trust, and there is some push to make things more visible from any perspective, then the trust establishment could be accelerated.
Well, you do see that trend coming up right now because eventually I believe that people will be running their own local models. And then with openness, with the transparency, I think in the end, you can only say that you will trust the little model you're running there because you want the full transparency.
For example, recently the 𝗰𝗵𝗹𝗶𝗵𝗺 is very hot. Everyone have their own claw agents running their own computers, do things for them. But there's still a lot of safety issues because this is not just the LM giving you a response. It's not just an advisor. It helps you to do things. So when you help you to do things, you can break things. Because it's sitting in your computer, you can send email to anyone, you can log into your bank account, you can buy things for you, you can put ticket for you. So all this gave a new challenge on the AI safety.
Yeah, so thank you very much for what has been shared by the two experts, right? So what is your view about AI in the future? You think like is running wild to the point that nobody can catch it anymore? Or you think that with whatever you do, somehow we'll reach a day in which all this will be harmonized so that humans and AI will work comfortably together? Okay.
Actually, 3 years back, Jeffrey Hinton, the father of deep learning, proposed to pause the training of AI because he realized it's too powerful. It have the potential to go out of the hand. Right? But people still continue. I think that's, for me, in my view, there's no way to turn back. Right? So what we can do is to understand deeper and put the safety mechanism in place before it's too late. Right? But anyway, the AI is still designed by human. Right? So we still have the opportunities to pull the plug or make it work together with a human.
In my opinion, I think it's more excitement. Now, if I quote Isaac Newton, he said, "I have done what I have done by standing on the shoulders of the giants." So we have to see this as a force multiplier as well. We have to see this as a way to do more by using the same resources, rather than using it as a reason to substitute things. Because I think anyone who's talking about AI and job replacements are just not thinking it the right way. As a company, you can use it to do, if your company's output was at 5x, it should be at 50x right now. By using these tools, rather than saying I'm going to just cut these people and still keep the output at 5x. But at the same time, I think we have to be practical. We have to look at it as a technology in its infancy stage. And just how we raise a baby, we have parents and we have family, peer support group. AI needs a similar way to grow up as well. But not discarding the challenges involved. So we have to address those as we go.
For the futures and possibility of AIs, I think is immense, and I'm just waiting to see what's beyond that. So thank you very much. It's been a wonderful session that I've had. I've learned so much from you and your views, and hope to see you next time as soon as possible. All right. So for the rest of you, you have enjoyed watching this, and do follow CRPO on LinkedIn and YouTube for more of such content. So thank you.